I think women are now demanding that their doctors have better education for them, have better information. So the black box coming off of the warning labels coming off of HRT has really helped even push the conversation, because you're like, okay, now if this isn't even dangerous for me, tell me why, how do I get it, and why should I be taking it, and can I be taking it? So I think there's a lot of different cultural things that have changed that have made the conversation easier to have.
Hi, I'm Lynnis Woods-Mullins, and I love to help women to vibe, to be more vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered in midlife. So come on, let's vibe. Now, I know all of you know that I seem to be obsessed about this topic when it comes to menopause. But I'm not obsessed. I'm just on a quest to get the word out that there are options, that you don't have to suffer. And number one, first of all, you are not sick. Your health is not in danger. There's nothing going on except for the fact that your body is to find different ways to support you as you work on embracing the aging process, because that's what we talk about here on V.I.B.E, is different ways to be well in your mind, body, and spirit. And always with the idea that this journey that we're on in terms of aging does not have to be bad news. I don't believe in that phrase midlife crisis. I believe in midlife opportunities, because when you get to this stage of life, it's an opportunity to peel back the layers and really get to know who you are and also pursue who you want to be. The clock begins to change. You start looking at, okay, I'm 40 now, or I'm 45 now. What do I want to do when I grow up? And that's perfectly common, perfectly normal to begin to want to do that. It's almost like the hormones begin to get out of alignment and things start going on. We also start talking to ourselves about certain things. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce to you Michelle Jacobs. Michelle Jacobs, along with her partner, Sally Mueller, founded Womaness, which is a wonderful brand that deals with helping women during their perimenopause and menopausal stages. And they've been very vocal about changing the narrative around aging and menopause. And they are speaking my language. We have with us today Michelle Jacobs. Michelle, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here on the V.I.B.E Living Podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so impressed with the work you do, and I'm just thrilled to have this conversation today.
Thank you. I was doing a little bit of research. You've gotten some great press about your product and the things that are going on. And I'm so happy about that, because your product is so overdue in so many ways. And the way you have your website, the things you talk about, you really are talking to us. But how did you get on this journey? How did you get to the point where you actually have a product that's launched and people are using it? Tell us your story.
Yeah, I'll start a little bit further back to give a little context. So my background, I live here in New York. I went to business school in New York City, and I worked at Pfizer Consumer Healthcare for a bunch of years. I worked on brands like Centrum and Advil, and I worked on Preparation H for a few years. So real big company, corporate environment, but really learned a little bit about how products are made. I then went on, actually worked at Real Simple Magazine for 10 years after that, and helped them with their product line and all of their brand extensions. And after 10 years there, I worked at Home Shopping Network. So my background is really about product development, marketing of brands. That's just really where I started. And my business partner, Sally, worked at Target for 25 years, left Target after tons of marketing, merchandising, every category you can think of. And she went on to work on other brands, helping them build out their product lines and bring it back into retail, whether it was Walmart or Target. I met Sally 20 years ago. I was actually pitching Real Simple to Target, and I met her at a meeting, and we just connected and we became really good friends. She's in Minneapolis, I'm in New York. Every time she came to New York for work, we would grab coffee and talk. And after 20 years of both of us in these big corporate jobs and never thinking really about, I was just moving from one job to the next, waiting for the next promotion. But we started getting in a conversation about the fact that we had created all these brands for millennials, Gen Z, all these other people. And here we were turning 50. And we found ourselves talking about our changing bodies and not feeling so great and gaining weight and our hair changing and our skin changing and all weird symptoms that were happening. And we said, how come we don't know anything about our bodies at this age? Why don't we understand what's happening, and why are there no products that address these needs? And for this was 5 years ago. So there was like the conversation has changed immensely around perimenopause and menopause over the last 5 years. But when we were doing it was like nothing. There was nothing. And doctors weren't talking about it. Women weren't talking about it. And I don't even know if we knew what we were getting into. We just were like, this is such a great idea. But the reality is that we like almost stepped into a landmine in terms of women starting to open their eyes to the fact that there was no research around women in midlife. There weren't a lot of products. Women still were scared of hormone replacement therapy and other drugs they could take. Doctors weren't being trained on what was available to share with their patients. So when we first started, it's funny you mentioned the press because we actually pitched a lot of press, and like major morning TV shows said people don't want to hear about vaginas at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's the feedback we got. We were like, we weren't exactly going to go on air and talk about that, but
Right.
definitely about midlife and menopause and perimenopause. And it took a while to get press to be interested in us. But that's the beginning. So just a little more context about Womaness. We know we launched in March of 2021 on our own site on Amazon. And now we're available at Walmart and we're available at Ulta Beauty as well. But Walmart launched a year ago and really fit into our sort of mission of being accessible and affordable for all women because all women go through this.
That's right. I love that story. And now that makes so much sense. You had the background at least to pitch the product and get it out once you figured out what you wanted to do. But you're absolutely right. Now, I've been doing this for 18 years. And when I started, first of all, I was an anomaly. You know what they say? Ignorance is bliss. I didn't know. So what you don't know can't hurt you, right? I had no idea that women weren't talking about what I wanted to talk about. I had no idea that back then women weren't even online like that purchasing products back in 2008, 2009. So I was truly a pioneer and definitely have been holding on with my bloody fingernails and my nubby fingers holding on until finally what happened right around COVID, women started getting online and
Mhm.
started talking more to each other. And they also started having virtual appointments with their doctors where maybe they could have a little bit longer discussions about some things. And then in November of 2025, they took the black label off of HRT. So now all of a sudden, they're beginning to have this groundswell of information that is out there. How has that impacted you? How has your business changed over the last few years now that awareness is all of a
Yeah.
sudden people are waking up?
I think that a lot of things that have happened in the space in the last 5 years. I think one also is that more millennials are aging into the demographic. So millennials who really started the conversation around IVF, endometriosis, really started talking about sexuality in a different way than my generation, which was Gen X, started a lot of these conversations, and now they're in their early 40s. And I think that shift has changed the most. And I see it within my customers because the customers that are 55 plus are still really, I don't want to say, there's a lot more shame and a lot more sort of shyness around the fact that they're having vaginal dryness or they're having libido issues or they're feeling different about their body versus the customer that comes to us in her early 40s, mid 40s, who is much more vocal about her problems and that she wants a solution. Tell me what to do. Help me here. So I think that's a big shift. I also think the fact that women, because of just the economic environment that we're living right now, have to stay at work longer. Women would retire, they would either come in and out of the workforce a lot easier. Women have to stay at work. They're the second income or the first income in their family. They're the breadwinners in their family. And you want to feel good throughout your lifetime. So
Yeah.
when women may be in their 50s, we're like, oh, I've had it, I'm done. Now they have to stay in the workforce longer and they want to feel better. And I think these changes have really changed the conversation. And I think women are now demanding that their doctors have better education for them, have better information. So the black box coming off of the warning labels coming off of HRT has really helped even push the conversation because you're like, okay, now if this isn't even dangerous for me, tell me why. How do I get it and why should I be taking it and can I be taking it? So I think there's a lot of different cultural things that have changed that have made the conversation easier to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. I'm still so surprised how many women don't know what's going on. But then when I take it and put it in perspective, I'm a baby boomer. I just turned 69 last week. So my mom, she talked to me about periods and things like that. Unfortunately, she was killed in an auto accident at 56. So she was probably, now that I think about it in terms of behavior and everything else, and my husband and I say, we know my mom was in menopause back then. But I think but I'm not sure we would have talked about it anyway, because you talked about your period, you talked about what's going on about having babies, and then there's like a whole 40 years is gone. No one talks about anything. Next thing you know, you're talking to a geriatric physician. There's a whole gap there in terms of information. So I didn't talk about it. Now, doing what I do now, of course, I'm talking to my daughters who are all in their late 30s, but even though in 40s, and even though they're considered millennials, there's still this kind of, oh, no, I'm not in menopause, mom, not yet. And I'm saying some of the things you're talking about, I'm not saying you're in menopause. You're probably premenopausal. And I can already tell with some of the mood swings and stuff, the hair on fire moments over paper clips being lost. I'm telling you, more than
Yeah.
likely there's something going on there. There's still this hesitancy that if you are going into that stage of life, it's bad news. But one of the things I love about your products are that you are taking into consideration all the different kinds of things that women might begin to feel, but don't have anyone to talk about or afraid to talk about it or not quite sure if they're going to talk to their peers. They don't know either. So tell me, how did you go about selecting the kinds of
Yeah.
products that you wanted to create?
So, yeah, the brand is, we like to say that we want to be the first place she comes when she's dealing with all of these hormonal changes. And that could be anything from, we say head to toe and everything in between. And we did research with women across the country and asked them what their symptoms were. And we heard everything from my skin's changing all over my body, my neck, my legs. I used to just worry about my under eyes, and now I'm worrying about my underarm. And so it was skin all over their body, obviously like the hot flashes, night sweats, brain fog, hair, skin, and nails changing, lack of sleep, weight gain, and then sexual wellness across the board. I would say 9 out of 10 women I speak to eventually get to the fact that they're having some sort of change in their relationship with sex, with their
Right.
partner, themselves in some way. So we first started out and said, okay, like we really wanted to be a full solution. So that meant skincare, supplements, and sexual wellness products. And we worked with a number of doctors and experts across the country to get us what are the best ingredients, what are the time tested products that work, what are the clinically tested ingredients that work, and we developed our product line to meet those needs. So like our number one selling product, Let's Neck, it's called Let's Neck, is a neck and décolleté serum with a roller ball. And that was because women said, I've been taking care of my skin on my face my whole life, and now all of a sudden I look in the mirror and my neck has changed. And it was during COVID, and a lot of women are on Zoom and they're like, I'm looking at myself all day long and all I see is my neck. And so we created a serum that helps with like short-term and long-term prevention of additional aging of your neck, protection of the skin on your neck, and that was became our number one selling product. Then we dealt with the body and we developed these really rich, great body creams that have hyaluronic acid and special algae that help with like tightening of the skin all over your body. We worked with great gynecologists and doctors to develop our supplement line. And all of our products are hormone free for women that don't want to be on hormones, although we're a proponent of hormone replacement therapy. But if you can't be on hormones for whatever reason, we have this great product called Menopause, which is a supplement for hot flashes, night sweats, and brain fog. That is amazing. And I've taken it. I've taken it often. Like my kind of cycle goes up and down. I find that sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. We have a great sleep product. And then again, like I said, sexual wellness, we have vaginal moisturizers, we have a vaginal insert with hyaluronic acid. So a lot of things that again address as many symptoms as we can.
I think that's fantastic. And there's a lot that's out there right now. And right now, some women are, they end up coming to me because they are overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. They just want to have something that's simple that they can figure out. They have so many choices. So they come to me to help me make the choice. What is it about your products, you think, and your approach to this phase of life that is different than some of the other companies that are out there?
I think we do try to keep it simple. I mentioned a whole bunch of things, but we don't say you need a 20-step face routine before you go to sleep at night. We're like, you need a really good moisturizer, you need a really good toner, you need something for the rest of your body. You have a good vitamin C serum. We don't have hundreds of products. We have 5 for your skin, 2 or 3 choices for sexual wellness, and we have only 3 supplements. So I think we try to keep things very simple. We try to keep our ingredients really simple. So things you've heard of, or at least not full of a million things, just the things that work. We bring our doctor experts in to help explain why we chose the ingredients we did. I have to believe, and I do, I'm very proud of our product line, that our products work. And I think our testimonials and our reviews stand behind that. But more than we use the time tested ingredients that have worked for women in the past and that have clinical data to support it. I think that's really, hopefully, what people see in the brand that sets us apart.
I'm sure that while you were creating this product, you probably talked to a lot of women who
Yeah.
were your test audience and things of that nature. What strengths emerged during this phase of life that you noticed as you were beginning to interview? What were some good things you noticed about women who are in this stage of life?
I think it's an exciting time. We were just talking before we started the official podcast about our own life right now and the fact that we have kids that are out of the house. I think that's very scary for a lot of people, but it's also another phase. And I'm excited for my children to be independent and learn how to live on their own without me living in this house because they're off in college. But then for me, I have I have another 50 years in front of me. And I feel that with other women that I speak to, if it's a time in your life where you can refocus on yourself, whether you have had children or have not had children, whether you have a big career, it's a time where things shift. And I think you can start to refocus on your health, on your body, and your mental health as well, in a way that maybe you couldn't before because you had so much, you're dealing with a lot of your career is building, you're trying to save money, you're raising family. So it is a shift. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I also think it's hard. I think for a lot of women, they are sandwiched between aging parents and children who maybe haven't left the nest yet or are struggling in some way. And some women are very depressed or sad about the fact that their children have grown up. You can be dealing with new physical issues and health issues as you get older. But I would say for the most part, for the women that have been able to find the joy in life and find things that make them happy, it is a resetting and and a shift that can be very exciting if you have the right frame of mind.
I think mindset is so important. And that makes me ask this question: in your opinion, how can women move from fearing aging to embracing it?
That is a great question.
What's your opinion?
Yeah, I think finding community of other, I guess I'll take a step back from that to what you just said about mindset to me has always been everything. You can choose how you view every day of your life. Today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to find all the bad, or today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to find all the good, or I'm going to focus on the goodness of the gratitude I have in my life, the joy and the love I have in my life, or I'm going to focus on the negative things in my life. I have just personally learned that you have a lot more control than you think. So I think if you can, obviously, and again, not sugarcoating it, yes, we're getting older. Yes, things are changing, but you have to be thinking about the good stuff. What's happening now? Maybe you have a great loving family. Maybe you can travel more. Maybe you can focus on your hobbies more. Maybe you can focus on yourself when you haven't been able to do that. Who know whatever it is that brings you joy in your life, being able to have the right mindset and say, I have another 50 years. And yes, I think taking care of your body is super important because you want it to last as long as you can. You want to be able to get into your 80s and maybe even your 90s, being able to move your joints. So that means being able to exercise and take care of your body in your 50s so you're ready for your older age. But again, so much of this is mindset. I've done practices myself where you wake up every day and you write the one thing you're grateful for, or you end the day thinking about the one thing you're grateful for. And as much as maybe in my 20s and 30s, I laughed at something like that, or I didn't think it was important, the older I get, the more I think it is so important to just be grateful and think about, again, those things that bring you joy, because life is short at the end of the day, and you want to be able to think about all the goodness and not focus on the negative. That's my own point of view.
And I love that. I love that. First of all, you're very vibrant. You have a lot of energy. I love that. I just love what I'm feeling coming across the internet wires here. And I can see that you're really
Interweb.
sincere about this. And I
Yeah.
just wish that so many other women can take the approach, because we live in a society that still celebrates youth. Although lately, over the last 5 years or so, you're seeing older women and you're seeing things made for TV and movies that involving older women. But why do you think society still celebrates youth so much, but seems to still struggle with the idea of celebrating women in their wisdom years?
The reality is that youth is great. You can't deny it. Everyone looks really good, and it's also a time of newness. What's ahead and what's exciting, and everything is new. A first love, a first job, a first opportunity. So there's a lot, obviously, to celebrate in youth. But I do think the culture is changing. I think the more women have positions in companies that could affect how media is presented, what books get published, what movies get made, as more women are in those positions, I think you'll see more things that appeal to an older woman, whether she sees herself in the stories, new romance, whether it's celebrating success, any number of things. I think you'll see more things that appeal to women like us. I think part of the problem probably is that in the past you had a lot of men running big companies, and they were probably more focused on youth than maybe we are. But I think if we as women and in our communities can celebrate the successes that we have and show each other how exciting those things are, you'll see more of that in the general, like the broader culture. I think some celebrities are now starting to talk about aging in a more positive way, whether it's like Nicole Kidman, Naomi Watts, Halle Berry. These are women who look up to, and they're beautiful women having great, amazing success later in life, which when we were maybe younger, women in their 50s were portrayed as old grandmas. And that's so not where we are. So I just think that as the culture changes and women get into more positions where their stories can be told, it will slowly change. But yes, look, youth is always going to be great.
It's interesting because the Vine philosophy stands for being vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered during your midlife journey.
Yeah.
Which of one of those words resonates most with you in this particular season, and why?
I definitely love the word vibrant. I think, and it's everything we've talked about. It's just celebrating the wins, celebrating the good stuff, focusing on things that are exciting and interesting, being curious. I think part of being vibrant is being curious. Curious to me is a very important word. You should never stop learning, being open to things, seeing the world in a different way. I think another thing that happens in your 50s, you maybe have a second of more time to say, oh, maybe I need to think about things in a different way, or this has been something that's been very depressing to me for a long time, and I want to think about it in a different way. And all of that adds to vibrancy, I think, just because it changes your outlook. And newness and freshness is going to be the things that kind of give you more energy as you get older in life. And so vibrant is, I think, a word that resonates with me and hopefully within my community, because the people I'm drawn to have an energy to them that I feel is exciting. And there's no reason not to be at this point.
I love that. And if every woman listening today could walk away believing one thing about herself or her body in this next chapter of her life, what would you want that belief to be for her?
I think we need to love our bodies as we age, but being more realistic and more tactical, the thing that I find with a lot of women is finding a doctor, practitioner, clinician who is going to hear you, is going to listen to you, and is going to help. And don't assume that wherever you are is where you have to be. Like if you don't feel, and I'm talking real practical, like my hips hurt, I can't focus. Things like this, there are solutions out there, whether it's a brand like Womaness in our products or other things out there. Find somebody who you can speak to who is really listening and make yourself feel better. That would be like my number one, I think. And it's not easy. It's not easy to find a doctor at this point in our life that is a good doctor. So it might take a while. The second thing I would say, and this is something personal to me also, is like exercise, whether it's just walking every day, it's getting outside and breathing the fresh air, whether you can actually get to the gym and really work out. I think keeping your body moving is so important. Don't stop. It helps your mind, it helps your body, it helps the people around you. It's my mental health. It's the best thing I can do for my mental health. So I would just say really do the things you can to help yourself as much as you possibly can at this point. There's no reason to just be stuck.
You are so right. And that is so on target to what I talk about every single day on all the different platforms and on the blogs that I write and on the podcasts that I do and the podcasts that I'm on. Every single day I'm talking about this because I really feel that women need to feel empowered at this stage of life, that you control how this stage goes, not the other way around. And our mindset is so powerful, it can really change the trajectory of what might be going on with your body. And you're also right. We can't turn the clock back, but we can certainly determine how we're going to take each tick of the clock moving forward. You have to let that be what defines us. And I'm really excited to meet you and so excited for those of you who want to find out more about Womaness, please go to the links below. You'll see their website there, their social media, get to know this product. And I have some of the products. Full disclosure, I have some of the products. I've tried some of the products and I absolutely love them. This is definitely, your products put us in a time where we really need to be, that we're moving forward, that now we have solutions. And when I think about messages that I want to send, that Womaness is a solution to some of the things that women deal with and they don't know where to go or who to ask. It's a solution. So definitely click on the link. Thanks so much for being here. It's been wonderful meeting you, Michelle, and wonderful talking about your wonderful company.
So much. It's great.
And thank you to all of you who are listening. Don't you love this? The idea of solutions and no longer suffering. And that's what every single episode of V.I.B.E Wellness or the V.I.B E Living Podcast is all about. It's about solutions for your mind, body, and spirit that are holistic and that will help you to vibe, to stay more vibrant, more intuitive, and more beautiful and empowered as you age. Thanks so much for listening. Have a fantastic day. And don't forget to vibe. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the V.I.B E Living Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and share this podcast. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to vibe. Bye-bye, everybody.